Hi there, I'm Ian Willoughby, and you're extremely welcome to episode 3 of Czech Next Wave, a podcast produced jointly by the Czech Centres Network and Radio Prague International. My guest this time is one of the Czech Republic's top young fashion designers, Tereza Rosalie Kladošová. Tereza, who's in her mid-30s, is known for eye-catching bright colours and bold, fun cuts. She also frequently uses her own materials, including from the waste products of wool manufacturing, to conjure up genuinely one-of-a-kind pieces. On top of that, she makes various other items, and in her guise as a stylist, co-created the look of the popular Prague restaurant Eska. And just to confirm how great she is, last year she took the overall prize in the very prestigious Czech Grand Design Awards, and that really is a big deal here in Prague. Enjoy my interview now with Tereza Rosalie Kladošová in this edition of Czech Next Wave. When you were a kid, were you the kind of kid who was always making things?
Yes, but I was making very different things. It didn't matter for me what it was, but I just love to create and explore. Yeah, but I didn't I never went to this like art school for kids, like when usually kids go. So I was this kind of DIY kid, more or less.
Would you say that a lot of Czech children are good with their hands? For example, I heard the surgeon in Britain saying that students of surgery are becoming less and less dexterous, less able to use their hands. How would you say the situation is here?
I don't know. I don't have kids now, so I cannot tell. But I have 2 nieces, and they are quite handy. So I don't know. But they don't have to like produce the things for themselves. They have everything. So that's kind of hard as well. I think when I was kid, I had to make things to play with as well. So I think it's a part of the way how to get skilled maybe, or how to use your hands as well. Totally.
And when or how did you first start getting interested in fashion?
It was kind of coincidence, because after the elementary school we had to decide where to go next, and since I never went to these art lessons, I just really didn't know where to go, and I was like, okay, maybe I can be a hairdresser. That's kind of creative and it's fun. But my mom said, it's like, since you have like very good marks, maybe you should go to like school with maturita. I don't know how it's in English actually. So, and she was like, yeah, maybe, what about this like fashion school? And I was like, yeah, why not? So that was basically it. But I was always interested in fashion. My mom was sewing for us and for herself since I remember. So, and she was really kind of bold, I can say. So she was extravagant since I
So that's
can
where
remember.
you get it from?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. So it was basically in me, but I just didn't know that I can study it.
You studied clothing design at the Tomáš Bati University in Zlín, later at the Academy of Arts, Architecture and Design in Prague, also known as UMPRUM. How did those experiences compare?
After Zlín, I just felt that I don't want to study anymore, because it like felt kind of, I don't know, not necessary. But somehow I got to Academy of Art. It was like a lot of different coincidences, and I just loved it. It was so different than in Zlín, because finally I had the feeling that there are like people same like me, like interested, like everybody was interested. Everybody really worked hard and trying to do their best, and it was nice atmosphere. And as well, I think what is very important, that the focus of the public or like journalists were always there. So that's good that when you create something, you actually somebody sees it. So that's nice. Back in Zlín, it was like nobody was going kind of there.
Invisible.
Yeah, we were invisible, so that was really not motivating. But the school was really good equipped, so that was nice. Better than here, actually.
One thing I'm curious about is if you study something like fashion design, Do you also get some kind of training in like how to run a business? Because when you actually graduate, you have to keep accounts and market and all this kind of stuff.
No, that's very shame. And we would love to have that kind of business background as well, but it's not included in the curriculum. And I think it's maybe because maybe it's changing as well, but nobody know how to do it here. It's like kind of everybody is just trying. And so basically when we got out of school, we were always on the phone with our classmates and colleagues, like, hey, how should I do this, and how to make this, how this works. And we were kind of helping each other always. That's how it works here.
To speak about your actual work, you go in for bright colors, striking cuts, really kind of attention-grabbing stuff. Why is it that those elements appeal to you?
I have no idea. I'm trying to figure it out, but I don't know. It's just somehow in me, those love for colors and patterns. Sometimes I feel that I had to live somewhere else in my past life, in kind of South American maybe. I don't know. I just love it. It makes me feel good. It's and joyful, and that's what I want from the things I am surrounded by, to makes me feel joyful and and just have fun.
Well, talk us through typically how you produce one item of clothing. Do you start with a sketch? Do you start with the material?
I always start with the material. So basically I do all the materials by myself. One part of my work is the woolen part, which is I developed this non-woven technique when I use merino wool leftovers from production. So sometimes they are wrong colored, or I don't know, dusty, dirty, or something wrong with them. So I collect that from the factories. Then I clean it. And there is like many more steps how to make the material. But when I make this material, then I decide what I'm gonna do with it. And it always turn out differently than I imagined at the beginning, of course. So that's always like surprise for me. And I'm trying to work with those like coincidences, or trying to find what's interesting about this. And then I made the prints, digital prints. Sometimes I take pictures of my like wool materials and make collages out of this, and then I print it on the jersey or just woven fabrics. And I always have something in my mind what I would love to create from it. But when the real material comes, it's always different as well. So then I change the ideas, and so I'm very always surprised how the collection looks at the end. So it's always very different.
And how complicated is it to produce your own material? Because basically you're taking a big step that most designers don't ever do.
Yeah, it's very complicated. It's very, very time consuming. So first is I have to collect the waste, or it's very precious and beautiful waste in my eyes. But then I have to go to many different facilities. One step I do in Technical University in Liberec, because they have the machine for carding, which is small, which I can use. And then I prepare the fabric in the studio. It takes like, I don't know, for 1 meter it can be around like 3-4 hours to prepare it. And then I go to Netex, which is factory in Děčín. And they, together we make the final step, like to make the material stable. So many different factories and many ways.
Lots of travel.
Lots of travel, yeah. But I like it.
When you recycle this merino wool, is the recycling deliberate, like a kind of political act of saving old material, or is it simply a side effect of the kind of material that you want to produce?
I think it's a little bit of both, but it was not intentional, like from the beginning it will be all from recycled wool. But I did carpets with my colleague before, woolen carpets, and we was coloring the yarns in one color factory near Brno. And once I get there to collect the colored yarns, and then the lady, walked me through the factory, and she said, yeah, we have like a lot of those. And I was like, oh my God, wow, that's like merino wool. It's like very expensive, very beautiful material. I was working with it before, and I was buying it because I wanted to work with it because it's just beautiful. And I was like, oh, I have to do something with this. It's like you just like leave it here, and it's like, yeah, we throw it away once in a year or something. And I was like, oh my god. And then I got into international Woolmark prize competition, and then part of the competition is that you create like one look from merino wool, which is kind of, it can be innovative somehow. So I got me thinking like, okay, how can I use this material? So that's how it started actually.
Slightly side question maybe. I for many years have bought merino wool sweaters from Zara and these places, and they typically cost, let's say, I don't know, 30 euros or something like that. Is that low quality merino wool? Is that some kind of merino for poor people?
Actually, I don't, like, I've never seen merino wool sweater for 30 euros. I'm very surprised.
Maybe it's some kind of fake. Maybe I've been
Maybe.
tricked by these Spanish
Maybe it's different
retailers.
kind of wool, yeah. I know like when you go to these retailers, it at least should cost you like 2,000, at least 60 euro. Yeah, no, it's just, it can be the cheap, like if you produce it in a tons. So you push the price, of course.
Generally speaking, how do you view that kind of high street fashion or fast fashion as it's called?
I have mixed feelings because I understand that like customer, you get like very trendy things for a very low price. So from that point of view, it's kind of like liberating. But the side effect is that it's polluting our world, and people are dying in Bangladesh, and I don't want to go into that. But so I basically don't agree with the size how it gets, and I think it's very unnecessary to produce such billions of tons of clothes because like there are not so many people on the planet. So I think we should go, and they should go, like take a step back, produce less, get maybe more expensive. People don't need to buy like once in a week, you know, a shirt or t-shirt. So I think it's got just very crazy. And it's as well, it's not good for, you know, smaller brands or local brands or designers, because people get used to that they are buying a shirt for 20 euros or even like less, for 10 sometimes when it got in sale. And then when you are selling shirt for 100 euros, so then it's like, oh my god, why is it so expensive? So the culture of clothing and how much the garment should cost, it's like totally like wrong. So it's very hard to teach again to people the price for the real fair product.
So it distorts people's sense of value of what something should cost.
Yes, totally.
I was reading a previous interview with you in which you said that in the fashion industry there can be greenwashing, where products are presented as being environmentally friendly, but they're not really. Can you give me some examples?
Yeah, it's this greenwashing strategy for the like those big brands, for example, you know, those, like, we know, can we say H&M and Zara here? Okay. For example, they have 1,000 products in the collection, and 10 of them it's kind of like from recycled polyester and something, and they do like huge campaign, they go green, and they have this like recycled collection, and people thought that like everything is going like green, you know, it's just like, and that it's they're actually selling more because of this politics, and I don't think it's good. They're using this sustainability movement. They know people are more interested, but not everybody is that interested, that goes deep and they find out like, is this garment really the green garment? Like, is it green, like really green, or it just like looks green and it's not? So they're just like using it for their profit.
Do you like to wear colorful clothes? Because I think you have to have a certain confidence to walk down the street dressed, I don't know, all in yellow or in orange with black stripes or whatever.
Yeah, I think so. And for me, it as well depends on the surroundings I'm. So, for example, for me, it's much easier to wear like crazy clothes when I'm abroad, that people are used to, those kind of clothes, and nobody is looking at you. It's like normal, kind of. And it's sometimes different here when, you know, people are not used to this kind of colors here. So sometimes I just wear black as well because I want to hide. But I had to a little bit push myself into it to start to wear, you know, my clothes and colorful clothes, and it just makes me feel better. And as well, it's I can see that it has influenced the people around me. They're like, yeah, it looks nice and this is beautiful color. And it's actually sometimes when I walk on the street and somebody going around me and gets start to smiling, it just makes me happy as well.
I guess I'm just quite a conservative, middle-aged guy. But even for me, if I visit somewhere like London and I walk down the street and I see the amazing things people are wearing, I get a kick out of it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to wear those things, but I really like to see it.
Yeah, I think it's important as well to make other people be joyful.
Would you consider, or do you do men's clothes?
I do like made to order for men's. I'm like trying to make men's collection for like 2 years, but it's always somehow, I don't know. I didn't do it yet, but it's on my plan.
Typically, would designers do both, or do they tend to stick with one gender?
Usually the smaller designers do one because it's easier. It's like very different thing to do women's wear and men's wear because, you know, we have different bodies and different cuts and everything. So, but a lot of men are asking me for the clothes, so I wanna do them because like here in Czech no funny menswear exists. And there are sometimes the men, when they want something different, they are very courageous, like sometimes more than women actually.
Grand Designerem roku, cenu Erste Premier Czech Grand Design 2018 se stává Tereza Rosalie Kladošová.
Last year you won the Czech Grand Design Award when you were named the Grand Designer of the Year. In practical terms, what has that accolade meant for your career?
I become visible, maybe. Yeah, that was like big PR around. I did so many interviews, so that was nice, but that's basically it. A lot of people doesn't know that when you won the prize, you actually don't get any money, how it should be, I think. So it's just like you get awarded, which is really nice because, you know, like people appreciate your work and you got this PR around you, which helps as well. But that's basically the support. Yeah, that's it.
And did you get more interest from customers, or were you able to increase your prices or anything like that?
I actually won it with the collection I did after like 3 years break. So I've been in the very beginning, and when I won this, I didn't have like stock of the products. I just won like, okay, I did this collection and who knows. So it was for me more like a kick to really do the fashion. So it was like, okay, so it's maybe good. People likes it. But it was not like I was selling crazy amounts. No. But maybe people, like when you want something like this, the people get confidence, then they can maybe invest in you. So it's more like stamp that it's good. So I think it's important here as well.
Tell us about your other activities. I know you've done things like set design, I was reading, also window displays, and also even co-designed this restaurant, Eska, this well-known restaurant. Tell us about that kind of work and what you get out of it.
It started at school. We started with my colleague Anna Stepanka doing window displays for one jewelry brand. And it kind of started like rolling. People get to notice these windows. And then we did Hermes windows in Pařížská and this Eska restaurant. So that's basically I've been doing last 2 years of my school and then 3 years after the school. And that's the reason why I was not doing fashion, because I was doing this. And it's easier to do, like easier to make living out of window displays and decorations than to have your own fashion brand. So it was nice, but it started to be so big we couldn't like handle the production anymore. We should, I don't know, rent some kind of big hall to make it, because we are like makers. We made basically 50% of all of these things by ourselves. So that's the thing why I think it was so different, because it was not like made in the production or something. And it was fun. And for Eska, it's we work still, but the other activities we stopped. So I just focused on the fashion.
Is there anything that you would say is particularly Czech about your work?
I don't know if other people sees it, but for me, it's this kind of like DIY little bit feeling in it, and I like it. And I'm kind of DIY person, so I think, and that's very Czech thing, I think. Yeah. So I grew up surrounded by these like home crafted things. So, and I love them.
This podcast is co-produced by the Czech Centres Network, and I understand that the Czech Centres helped you take part in the Ukraine Fashion Week.
Yes.
I was wondering, what do you get out of experiences like that, and indeed other international projects that you're involved in?
I think it's amazing and very important to go abroad to see how things work there, so you can improve the things here which are not working, and meet other designers. Always amazing. And I met few people. I'm still in contact always at these things, and always some kind of collaboration can come up. And with Czech Center, I've been in the Brussels as well. That's interesting because that was 2 years ago, and it was some kind of market. The Czech centers did they selected designers, and they did like pop-up market. But back then I didn't sell anything there, and I was like, yeah, it was nice, but not, I get rich out of it. But that's interesting that this spring, lady wrote me, yeah, I saw you 2 years ago in Brussels, and I really liked your stuff. And she bought a lot of things, and she actually saved me during this quarantine things. And I was like, okay, so people need really time to digest and some kind of thing. So that's very important. That was important for me because it kind of really saved me. She became a very good client, and we are still in contact, and she's a really nice lady.
And generally speaking, how has the whole COVID situation affected your work?
I think people spend less, which is understandable. The fashion is the thing you don't need to buy, so that's something extra. So the sales got really lower. So
also, people have fewer places to go.
Yes,
even though myself, I don't dress up.
Yes, yeah, that's true. People doesn't need the clothes now. That's true. Yeah, and I was quite happy because it's being better after a year, and I was like, yeah, I can really say that it's going on a good path. But then the COVID came, and it's like, okay, it's got me back here, and I was in the way that I was starting selling abroad, but all the shops got closed, so they were sending the stuff back, and it was just very complicated, and I lost a lot of money, these transfers, the clothing and stuff like that. So,
and a different question entirely. I often wonder about creative people like you, who must be more sensitive than many of us. When you walk down the street or sit on the metro or whatever,
yeah,
do you look around at the things that people are wearing, just going, oh no, what the hell are these people wearing? What is this? Why can't they dress well?
Yeah, sometimes I get sad, but I think I just got used to it here, and I don't look around much. But I got really happy when I see somebody nicely dressed up. That's wow. But usually it's not Czech person. Now I'm getting there a lot of nice dressed people, but that's why I really love to go abroad, because it's just the pleasure to sit on the street and watch, and it's very inspiring. Sometimes I get it's it's just, I don't know, it's just so boring and so gray, and why I'm here, and questions like that. But it's getting better, I think.
And my final question, Tereza, where would you like your career to be in, let's say, 10 or 15 years?
I don't think that way. I think what I'm going to do next month, more or less. But I would love to be that kind of big that I can just observe, and it will be working by itself, and I will be just really doing my own funny things, and everybody else will be doing these things I don't like the production and marketing and selling, and I will be just doing some really funny business thing. Because I love to create everything. It's like, even though in this collection I made like hair combs or porcelain shoes, and it's more like a collection of just clothes, but this kind of world I'm creating around myself. So,
which I guess is kind of something with a long tradition, because in the past, if somebody designed a house, they also designed the chairs or even the
something
crockery.
like some Kunstwerk kind of little thing. Yeah, a little bit. I like to do everything, even like textiles for like home textiles, even the furniture I made for myself for the installation. I like to do everything, but I would like to split myself into 10 persons, and each of the one would be like doing, you will be doing the furniture, you will be doing the clothes, you will be doing this, and I will be just kind of floating above, observing everything. That would be nice.
Many thanks for that interview to the great young Czech fashion designer Tereza Rosalie Kladošová. You may have noticed that our voices were slightly muffled. That's because we both had to wear face masks in the studio because of the COVID-19 situation when we met in the middle of October 2020. But hopefully that minor reduction in sound quality didn't take away from your enjoyment of this episode 3 of Czech Next Wave, a podcast produced jointly by the Czech Centres Network and Radio Prague International, introducing listeners around the world to talented young Czechs in various fields of the arts and beyond. By the way, our music is by another young Czech with bags of talent, the great keyboardist Andrej Pivec. But until next time, that's all from me, Ian Willoughby. Talk to you again in a few weeks' time.